Hi, and welcome back to Radiant Rise. Today we're doing something a little different. The last couple of episodes have been heavy, really heavy, and those conversations were important. I'm glad I shared them, and there will be more conversations about everything I have been going through when I'm ready. But I also don't want every time you press play on Radiant Rise to feel like you need to be emotionally prepared first. So today, we're changing the mood. We're taking a little break from hospitals, surgery, recovery, doctors, and all of that. Today, we're talking about my brain, which may or may not actually be a little less chaotic because I have ADHD and I'm autistic. If I had to explain what being inside my brain feels like on an average day, I think the most accurate description would be I have approximately 47 browser tabs open. At least six of them are frozen, three are playing music. I have no idea where the music is coming from. One contains something incredibly important that I absolutely cannot close. I have no idea which one it is. 14 are things I opened because I told myself, I'll come back to this later. Spoiler alert, I did not come back later. One tab is currently trying to convince me that I need to buy something. I probably do not need it, but that tab has prepared an extremely convincing PowerPoint presentation explaining why this product is absolutely necessary. Another tab contains whatever food I've decided is the greatest thing I've ever eaten and will apparently be the only thing I want for the foreseeable future. Don't worry, next week I may never want to look at it again. There's probably a television show playing in another tab because I absolutely need to know what happens next. Another tab has a business idea. Another has an unfinished project. Another is analyzing something somebody said to me 3 days ago. And somewhere, buried beneath all of that, is the original thing I sat down to do. Welcome to my brain. Today, we're going inside. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately forgotten why you're there? That's a normal thing everybody does sometimes. But there are days when I feel like my entire life is one long version of that. I'll suddenly remember I need to send that email. Okay, simple. I pick up my phone, then I see a notification. I open the notification, and that reminds me of something else. So I go look for that. While I'm looking for that, I remember something I've been meaning to order. Now I'm searching for that item. Obviously, I have to compare prices. Then I start reading reviews. One of the reviews mentions something I've never heard of, and clearly I cannot continue living until I know what that is. 25 minutes later, I look at my phone and think, why am I holding this? Oh, the email. I was supposed to send an email, and sometimes I haven't even opened the email app yet. That's the part that's funny afterward. In the moment, not always. Because when it happens constantly, you can start feeling like you're chasing your own brain around all day. Come back. No. Over here. We're doing this. Please stop opening new tabs. And my brain is basically like, okay, but before we do that, have you ever wondered how penguins recognize their partners? No, no, I have not. We are not researching penguins. We are paying the electric bill. 5 minutes later, penguins. Meanwhile, in tab number 37, the electric bill is still waiting. One of the hardest things for me to explain is how inconsistent my ability to focus can look from the outside, because there are things I can do for hours. Give me something I'm interested in, and I can disappear into it. Writing, designing, researching, creating, working on Radiant Rise. organizing something I suddenly decided absolutely needs to be organizing. And if my brain decides, yes, we like this, good luck getting me to stop. I can look up hours later and realize my coffee is cold, I haven't eaten, I haven't moved, my phone is dying, and somewhere half the day has disappeared. But then there's another task, tiny task, something that should take 5 minutes. Make a phone call, answer an email, put something away, complete a form, fold some laundry, and my brain looks at that 5 minute task like somebody just asked me to climb a mountain. Logically, I know it's easy. I know I am capable of doing it. I know it probably won't take long. And yet, knowing that and actually getting my brain to initiate the task can feel like two completely different things. For years, I interpreted that as, why am I lazy? Why am I procrastinating again? Why can't I just do it? And as it turns out, shaming yourself does not magically produce executive functioning. Very disappointing. 0 stars. Do not recommend. Now, I haven't done the task, and I also feel terrible about myself. Fantastic. Then there are those random bursts where my brain swings completely in the other direction. Suddenly, we are doing everything. Maybe it's 9 o'clock at night. Maybe I have been tired all day. Doesn't matter. Something has activated. I'll notice one thing that needs to be put away. So I'll go put it away. But before I can put that away, something else needs to move. Then I notice a drawer. That drawer is obviously unacceptable. It needs to be reorganized immediately. So everything comes out. And because everything is already out, I might as well reorganize the entire area. Actually, maybe the closet needs to be done too. Then I find something in the closet that I forgot I owned. Now we're looking at that. Then I find things I meant to donate. Now there's a donation pile. And somehow the original task was to put away one pair of shoes. An hour later, the room looks significantly worse than when I started. But there's a system happening. Do not question the system. I know what I'm doing. Probably. And then eventually the energy disappears. Not gradually. No. It is like somebody pulled the plug out of the wall. Suddenly, I'm standing in the middle of everything I just took apart thinking, well, this is an unfortunate series of decisions. The stages are basically inspiration, destruction, regret. I'll finish tomorrow. And somewhere in tab number 22, tomorrow has apparently been open for 3 weeks. And then there's shopping, because apparently, when I like something, buying one can be very difficult for me. Pens are a perfect example, especially when I'm really focused on writing. I think, I want a new pen. Okay, perfectly reasonable. One pen, normal purchase. I buy the pen. Then my brain says, well, this one's black, but sometimes you might want blue. Fair enough. Now we need blue. Then we notice another color, and suddenly I'm thinking, actually, different colors would help me organize my notes. Now, this isn't shopping. This is productivity. Very different. Then I find another type of pen, one that writes differently. Well, clearly, that one would be better for journaling. This one can be for my planner, and this one can be for work. These colors could be for Radiant Rise. This one feels nicer in my hand. I don't have the shade, and before I not notice, I've gone from I want a pen to apparently opening a stationery store. The best part happens later. Eventually, I enter another hyperfocus phase. This time, the obsession is organizing. So I pull out all of my writing and work supplies, pens, highlighters, markers, sticky notes, notebooks, whatever else past Michelle apparently believed was absolutely essential. And somewhere in the middle of all that, I'm thinking and staring, thinking, oh my God, why do I have this many pens? I don't even use all of these. But at the moment I bought each one, every purchase made complete sense. Past Michelle had a business case. One is for writing, one is for planning, one is for work, one is for journaling, one is for color coding, one is because the ink looked pretty, one is because it felt nice, and one I don't know. I'm pretty sure there was a reason. Probably. And because now I have too many pens, guess what happens next? Meanwhile, in tab number 29, we're somehow shopping for pen organizers. So the solution to buying too many things is apparently buying another thing. Excellent. My brain does something very similar with food. I don't just like a food. Sometimes I enter an entire era. There be there will be one thing that suddenly becomes the greatest food humanity has ever created, and constantly I want it for breakfast, that, lunch, also that, dinner. Honestly, why are we pretending I want anything else? There was a period where I became obsessed with toasted bread and a light layer of butter. That's it. Nothing fancy. Toast, a little butter. Apparently, five-star cuisine according to my brain. Breakfast, toast. Lunch, toast sounds good. Dinner, you know what I haven't had enough of today? Toast. My brain had decided this is our food now. We live here, and because I like it so much, I think, well, obviously I'm going to keep wanting this. Better make sure we have enough. So I buy extra, because future Michelle is definitely going to want it too. Unfortunately, future Michelle was not consulted, because one random day, I'm done. No warning, no gradual transition. Yesterday, this food was the love of my life. Today, absolutely not. Don't want it. Not interested. The relationship is over. And then I'm looking at everything I bought thinking, what happened? Past Michelle, purchase inventory. Present Michelle, close the restaurant. And this isn't only toast. I'll go through phases with different foods. My brain decides this is it. We love this. We will eat this forever. We have historical evidence showing that this is not true. But apparently, management refuses to review previous data. And then sometimes the thing my brain locks onto is completely random. A television show is a perfect example. I can start watching a series casually, just one episode. Normal. Then something happens. Now I need to know what happens next. Not tomorrow, not this weekend. Now. There is a mystery. I need the answer. There is a relationship I am invested in. I need to know what happens. Somebody ended the episode on a cliffhanger. Well, sleep apparently is cancelled. How exactly am I supposed to go to bed without knowing what happens next? I tell myself, one more episode, which is an incredibly dishonest statement. One more becomes another, then another. Then the streaming service is asking, are you still watching? Yes, unfortunately we are, because now I need closure. If I stop, my brain is just gonna think about the show anyways. So somehow I've convinced myself the responsible choice is to stay awake and finish it. Then I finally finish the series. And suddenly, there's this weird emptiness. For 3 days, these fictional people have basically been members of my household. Now it's over. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Meanwhile, another tab has already opened. Will there be another season? This intensity isn't always funny. There have been many times when my hyperfocus has affected major parts of my life. Businesses are a big example. I can get an idea, and I don't casually think, maybe I'll explore this. My brain goes, this is it. We're doing this. So I research, I plan, I create, I spend money, I buy supplies, I build things, I spend my evenings working on it, my weekends, my extra time, my extra energy. Sometimes energy that honestly wasn't extra, and other parts of my life start getting less attention because this new thing has become the center of my world. When I'm in that phase, I genuinely believe I'm going to do this. This is part of my future. This is going to work. Because in that moment, I can't imagine ever becoming uninterested in something that currently consumes so much of my brain. Then sometimes the interest disappears, not gradually. It can feel like somebody flipped a switch. Something I couldn't stop thinking about suddenly feels like something I want absolutely nothing to do with. And that's where the funny part ends, because then I'm looking at everything I invested: money, time, supplies, plans, hours, energy, things I may have neglected because I was so focused on this one thing. And I get depressed about it. Why did I do this again? Why did I spend all that money? Why did I give this so much of my time? Why did I think this was definitely going to be different? Why can't I just stick with something? And I'm not only grieving the money or the time. Sometimes I'm grieving the future I had already imagined around that idea. Because when I'm excited about something, I don't just see what it is today. I can mentally build an entire life around what it might become. Then, when I'm interested and it disappears, that imagined future disappears with it. That's harder. I've seen the same pattern with education. As an adult, I've tried different times to study different things and beginnings. My brain loves beginnings. New subjects, new materials, new notebooks, new schedule, new possibilities. I'm researching, I'm planning, I'm studying. I'm imagining where this could lead. I'm completely focused. And because I feel so motivated at the beginning, I think this time is different. I've got this. Then the novelty starts wearing off. The workload becomes heavier. There are deadlines. Something gets harder. Maybe I don't understand something right away. Maybe I fall behind. Maybe there are too many moving pieces. And then the hyperfocus starts turning into overwhelm. The overwhelm creates avoidance. The avoidance creates more work. The extra work creates even more overwhelm until eventually I can't do this. And sometimes I give up. Then afterward, here comes the shame again. Because I remember how excited I was, how convinced I was, how much effort I put into starting. And I asked myself, why couldn't I finish? Why couldn't I push through? Why do I keep doing this? One thing I'm starting to understand about myself is that my brain can be incredibly good at sprinting. The challenge is pacing myself for the marathon, because when I'm beginning something, I tend to give it everything. And sometimes I give so much at the beginning that there isn't enough left to sustain me later. That's something I'm still learning. Here's another contradiction. I need routine. Routine helps me. Predictability helps me. Systems help me. Knowing where things belong and what happens next can make life feel so much easier. My autistic brain precedes that. And then my ADHD brain shows up like, we've done this 4 times. This is boring now. We must abandon it. I can spend hours building the perfect system: planner, checklist, color coded schedule, alarms, reminders, categories. Everything has a place. This is it. My life is finally fixed. For 3 days, unstoppable. Day 4, where's the planner? No idea. A notification appears. I swipe it away. I've become emotionally immune to 3 reminders, and the beautiful system I created has somehow become invisible. Sometimes the system works until my brain realizes it's a system. Then it becomes furniture. I stop seeing it, and I'm learning that's not necessarily proof that the system was bad or that I failed. Sometimes I need novelty, a different format, a different reminder, a visual clue. Sometimes something broken into smaller pieces. Maybe I need to move something. Maybe I need to reward myself for an incredibly boring task. If I put the laundry away, it requires negotiating coffee afterward. Fine, we're negotiating with management. Management is me. Management is difficult. Does anyone else do this? You have something important and you think, I need to put this somewhere safe. So you put it somewhere incredibly safe. So safe, apparently, nobody will ever find it again, including you. Later, you remember putting it away. You can almost remember the thought. I don't want to lose this, so I'm going to put it, and that's where the memory stops. Put it where? Where was this genius location? Apparently, past me created a secret filing system and refused to leave instructions. This happens with objects, documents, things on my phone. I'll save something because, hmm, I'll definitely need this. 6 months later, I find it accidentally. Oh, I needed that. Past Michelle tried. She really did. Present Michelle just wasn't given the map. Then there's another side of my experience with autism: social exhaustion. I can love being around people. I can laugh, talk, have a wonderful time. I can genuinely enjoy myself. And then when I get home, I feel like somebody removed my battery. Social battery, 2%. Please connect charger. Do not speak to device. And for a long time, I didn't completely understand why something I enjoyed could also make me so tired. But enjoyable doesn't necessarily mean effortless. Sometimes I'm processing everything at once: conversation, facial expressions, tone, noise around me, other conversations, what I'm supposed to respond to, whether I'm talking too much, whether I'm being too quiet. Did that joke land? Was that person serious? Did I interrupt? Why did they make that face? Was that about me? What exactly did that sentence mean? Then I go home, and my brain decides we're watching game footage. Let's review that conversation from earlier. Could we have worded this differently? Was that weird? Did I talk too much? Did they misunderstand me? Do they hate us now? Probably not. But tab number 41 has opened a full investigation anyways. Then there are sensory things: noise, smell, clothing, bright lights, too many sounds at the same time. Something touching me when I'm already overwhelmed, a repetitive noise everybody else seems perfectly capable of ignoring. And sometimes something doesn't bother me at all. Another day, same thing, cannot tolerate it. Because what I've learned is that the little thing isn't always the entire problem. It's how much I'm already processing. How tired am I? What has happened that day? How many mental tabs are already open? And if I'm already running 46, 47 might be tiny, but it's one that crashes the browser. So sometimes when I seem disproportionately bothered by one little thing, that little thing may have simply been the final tab. Now, please tell me I'm not alone with this one. Someone texts me, I read it, I think about what I'm going to say, I formulate the entire response in my head. Emotionally, conversation completed. Physically, I typed absolutely nothing. 2 days later, I see the message again. Wait, I didn't answer? Nope. Apparently, thinking about answering and actually sending the message are two entirely separate tasks. And then there's, I'll remember that. That sentence should trigger an emergency alarm. No, you will not. Write it down. Make the reminder. Put it in the calendar because another tab is going to open and that information is leaving the building. Except sometimes I make the reminder appears, I look directly at it, I say, yes, thank you, swipe, then don't do it. Why? The system worked, the phone reminded us, we received the information, and somehow still decided, not now. Apparently, we need a reminder for the reminder. But here's something else I've been realizing. The intensity in my brain doesn't only show up with television shows, or pens, or foods, or businesses, or school. It shows up in how I love people too. When I love someone, I love them intensely. My kids, my significant other, my pets, the people I call family. If you're one of my people, there's a part of me that immediately starts asking, are you okay? What do you need? How can I help? What can I fix? What can I do? What can I take off your plate? If someone I love is hurting, I feel it. If they need something, my brain starts trying to figure out how to make it happen. If someone hurts somebody I love, my protective side comes out immediately. I don't love halfway, and there are parts of that I cherish. I don't want somebody who doesn't care deeply, but there's another side to it. Sometimes I become so focused on making sure everybody I love is okay that I completely stop taking care of myself. I'll make sure that they eat. Did I? I'll make sure they have what they need. Now, what do I need? I'll think about their stress, their emotions, their problems, their comfort, their future, and somewhere underneath all of that, I'm exhausted. But I tell myself, it's okay. I'll deal with myself later. Except later can turn into weeks or months. And I think that's something I'm learning I have to be careful with. The problem isn't loving people deeply. I don't want to love less. But loving somebody else should not require abandoning myself. Protecting the people I love shouldn't mean I never protect my own energy. Taking care of my family shouldn't automatically mean I'm the last person on my own list. I can be deeply loyal, protective, caring, present, and I still need boundaries. I can love somebody with everything I have without literally giving away everything I have. That's a balance I'm still learning. And when I look At all of these things together, I think there may be a common thread: intensity. When my brain cares about something, it does not always care quietly. A TV series becomes, I need to know how this ends. A pen becomes, I need the colors. A food becomes, this is all we're eating now. A business idea becomes, I'm giving this everything I've got. School becomes, I'm going to change my entire future. A person I love becomes, I will do anything I can to make sure you're okay. There's intensity, and intensity is not automatically good. It's not automatically bad. Sometimes it gives me passion, creativity, curiosity, loyalty, drive, protectiveness, love, and sometimes that exact same intensity leaves me completely exhausted, overwhelmed, overcommitted, financially invested in something I suddenly don't want, burned out from somebody or something I cared about, or realizing I took care of every person around me except myself. So maybe I'm learning how my brain works isn't about trying to become less intense. Maybe the better question is, where is my intensity going right now? And is it still good for me? Because I don't want to spend my life trying to erase the part of me that loves deeply, creates intensely, gets excited, dreams big, researches everything, and cares with my whole heart. I just don't want that same intensity to keep consuming me. I can joke about a lot of this, and humor helps me, but there's a part that isn't funny. Years of not understanding why certain things seem so much harder than they looked for other people. Feeling embarrassed because you forgot again. Starting something with everything you have and then not finishing. Buying things and later wondering why you have so many. Being completely obsessed with something and then completely not caring. Trying school again. Trying another project. Trying another system. Watching yourself repeat patterns you don't understand. And when you don't have context, you create your own explanation. I'm lazy. I'm irresponsible. I'm bad with money. I'm too sensitive. I'm inconsistent. I'm dramatic. I can't finish anything. Why do I keep doing this? Why can't I just get my life together? Those thoughts can become part of your identity. Understanding more about my neurodivergence as an adult didn't suddenly make everything easy. I still forget things. I still procrastinate. I still get overwhelmed. I still become intensely interested in things. I still buy something sometimes and later question why I thought I needed it. I still have food phases. I still start things. I still have to watch myself for burnout. I still have days when my brain and I clearly have active negotiations. But now I can sometimes replace what is wrong with me with, okay, what is happening here? And what does my brain need? Those questions lead me somewhere very different. I want to be clear about this. Understanding myself doesn't mean, well, I have ADHD, so I'm not responsible for anything. That's not what I'm saying. If anything, understanding patterns gives me more opportunity to manage them. If I know I tend to buy too much when I'm newly obsessed with something, maybe I don't buy the fifth version today. Maybe it stays in the cart for 24 hours. If my brain is currently convinced I'm going to eat one particular food forever, maybe we don't purchase 12 of them. Historical evidence suggests the restaurant may close without notice. If I'm excited about a new business, maybe I don't immediately pour every spare dollar and every spare hour into it. Maybe I give the idea time. Maybe I ask whether the excitement survives once the novelty wears off. If I suddenly start studying something, maybe I focus less on sprinting through the beginning and more about creating a pace I can actually maintain. If I know I'm going to forget something, I don't trust memory. Write it down. If I'm overwhelmed, break it down. If I know I'm going to be socially drained, maybe I don't schedule something else immediately afterward. Understanding why something is difficult doesn't remove responsibility. It gives me information I can actually use. There's a huge difference between I'm terrible at this and this is hard for me. What would make it easier? One creates shame, the other creates options. I don't want this entire conversation to sound like my brain is just a collection of problems, because there are things about the way my brain works that I actually genuinely appreciate. If something interests me, I want to know everything, not a little, everything. I can become incredibly creative. I get ideas, I make connections, I notice details. I can become deeply passionate about projects that matter to me. I can spend hours creating something because I can already see in my mind what I want it to become. Sometimes my brain gives me 10 ideas before I finish explaining the first one. Useful? Sometimes. Convenient? Absolutely not. The same brain that loses a piece of paperwork can create an entire project because an idea showed up. The same intensity that causes me to accumulate too many pens can fuel my writing. The same part of me that researches a random question for hours can learn an incredible amount when I'm interested in something. The same brain that overanalyzes a conversation is paying close attention to the people around me. And that same intensity is part of why I love the people in my life so deeply. I'm trying not to divide myself into good parts, bad parts. It's just me. Some parts require tools, some need boundaries, some need patience, some make me laugh, some exhaust me, some create things I'm incredibly proud of. And apparently, some believe 6 different pens qualified as 6 unrelated necessities. We're a complicated team. For a long time, I think I imagining success as becoming an entirely different kind of person, someone who never forgets anything, never gets distracted, finishes one thing before starting another, never gets overly excited and spends too much too quickly, never loses interest, always follows a routine, uses one planner for an entire year, replies to every text, never gets overwhelmed, always finishes everything she starts. Basically, some mythical person who apparently has one browser tab open. Maybe that person exists. If you're listening, I would like to study you because that sounds fascinating. But I'm starting to realize maybe the goal isn't to eliminate every messy part of how my brain works. Maybe I don't need to close all 47 tabs. Maybe I need to learn which tab actually matters right now, which one can wait, which one needs a reminder, which one is going to make me try to buy another pen, which one thinks toast is the only food we'll ever need again, which one is trying to turn a new idea into my entire future before Thursday, which one is worrying about everybody else while I'm ignoring myself, which one is just noise, and most importantly, which one is playing that music. Please, somebody find it. So that's a slightly chaotic tour inside my brain. ADHD, autism, hyperfocus, executive dysfunction, random thoughts, television binges, impulsive purchases, too many pens, food errors, business ideas, unfinished projects, studying overwhelm, social exhaustion, sensory overload, messages I answered only in my imagination, protecting the people I love, forgetting myself in the process, and approximately 47 tabs open at any given moment. But underneath all the jokes, I think this is the part I want to leave with. Maybe I don't need to become less intense. Maybe I just need to learn where I'm putting that intensity and make sure I'm not losing myself inside it. I don't want to stop loving deeply. I don't want to stop getting excited. I don't want to stop creating. I don't want to stop being curious. I don't want to stop caring. I just want to get better at noticing when passion becomes exhaustion, when excitement becomes obsession, when helping becomes self neglect, when an interest becomes something I'm pouring too much money or energy into, when a sprint needs to slow down before I burn out. I'm still learning. I'm still trying different systems. I'm still recognizing patterns. I'm still discovering things about myself that make parts of my past suddenly make a lot more sense. And I know I'm not going to figure everything out overnight. Tab number 47 is apparently still loading. If your brain sounds anything like mine, I hope this episode made you laugh. I hope it made you feel seen. And maybe it made you recognize one or two of your own tabs. Maybe you have 47, maybe you have 83. Maybe you're listening to this episode while avoiding something you're actually supposed to be doing. And if that's the case, no judgment. But maybe go do the thing after this. Actually, write it down first. We both know what's going to happen. Thank you for spending this time with me. I needed a lighter conversation. I needed to make myself laugh a little. But I also needed to remind myself that understanding who I am doesn't mean I have to criticize every part. This is Radiant Rise. We're healing, we're growing, we're learning about ourselves. We're learning when to keep going. We're learning when to slow down. And sometimes we're just trying to remember why we walked into the kitchen. I'll talk to you again soon.